Mother of God.
Hey guys, Kingopersia back. So as you heard or saw in my update video on Monday, I have quit Star Wars. Yeah, I've quit Star Wars, the game I have been glorifying, so to speak, on my channel. Not playing it anymore. I'm back into World of Warcraft. Really the hardest part for me was not really leaving Star Wars, but was leaving my guild. You know, they really needed me a lot. I was there for all the raids. I was DPS, so it was hard leaving them. And the raid group is kind of falling apart from what I've heard. I still talk to them on TeamSpeak, so shit happens. So I'm back in World of Warcraft. I got a priest, I'm making a healer. It's awesome. But this video, main point of this video is to say why I quit Star Wars, along, as I've said verbatim, along with a comparison / evaluation of World of Warcraft and Star Wars between the two. So the thing is, Star Wars is a very it's a very narrow experience. Like when you play World of Warcraft, that's a very open, free experience. You feel like when you go up to a quest giver in World of Warcraft, you go up to them, right click, click accept, and you're on your way. When it comes to Star Wars, you gotta go up to them, right click, you gotta keep pressing spacebar to skip the conversation if you want to skip the conversation. You gotta choose your choices, make sure you don't want to choose the wrong one. So if you're light side, you don't want to choose the dark side choice. And everything, just it's very hard to explain. It's hard to put it into words. I can't really put it into words because I don't usually hear this thing like explained much. But I've got it in my head. It's just putting it into words. Just the overall experience, you know. It's. But like if you've played both of them, you know what I'm talking about. If you really played Star Wars and analyzed it from the perspective of somebody that previously played World of Warcraft, namely me, then you know what I'm talking about. Because you know if you've played both of those, you've kind of been on both spectrums, both sides of the popularity scale. You've been at the very top with WoW, and what's kind of going slowly toward the bottom with Star Wars. So you've been in the good, you've been in the forthcomingly bad. It's like I said, a very narrow, restricted experience in Star Wars. Now, you just feel clunky or slowed down by the experience of the game. It's not like oh, the PvP sucks or the raids are too easy. No, it's something you don't really think about every day. Just the way you feel. It's just the whole way the game flows. You feel very restricted. Now, World of Warcraft, you can just it's hard to explain. It's just the way you experience the game. World of Warcraft. Also, I mean, another thing. I mean, there's a couple reasons, not just the experience, but World of Warcraft has been out for much longer, 8 years, and yeah, and it's got a lot more stuff to it. You know, Star Wars. The thing is, when Star Wars came out, BioWare said they were adding a fourth pillar to the MMO genre. With MMOs, there's 3 pillars. I think they are questing or exploration, leveling progression, and socializing or something. There's those. BioWare wanted to bring a fourth pillar, story, to it. You know BioWare, they're all about story, so they wanted to bring story to the MMO experience. This, unfortunately, was their downfall. Because they focused so much on the story pillar that they didn't focus enough on the other ones. Most of the content is the stories in Star Wars: The Old Republic. And when you play a class, you have a completely different storyline for each class. That being said, to experience the game in the sense that they want you to, you have to make a lot of characters. You have to play each class to experience the story of each class. That promotes making alts. Some people are not alt people. I'm not an alt person, but Star Wars really pushes you to make an alt. The legacy system as well. You get perks if you have alts. That's another thing. They really push you to have alts in that game, and that can be no bueno for some people. It sort of wasn't good for me. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's cool to have an alt, but I'm really not an alt person. I think personally, the way I play an MMO is I make one character and one character only, so I can focus more on that character and make them much more powerful. Star Wars doesn't do that because there's not much. Like I said, they focus on the story. There's not much to do endgame wise. There were only 3 battlegrounds. There's there were only like 2 battlegrounds when World of Warcraft came out. Actually, there was no PvP when World of Warcraft came out, but still, there's a lot more to do in World of Warcraft. It's not an alt game; it's a content game. It's an MMO content game. Star Wars is a story content game. Now the stories, I've actually got a video on my ideas of the stories. I'll recite a little bit of it. They're not that great. They don't have much flair to them. They don't pull you in that much. They're definitely better than the storytelling in general. Not the stories themselves, but the storytelling in general is much better than any other MMO I've seen because of the full-blown cinematics and voiceover. But the stories were the problem. They weren't that great. They weren't very deep or complex like Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite video game storyline of all time. If they were like Metal Gear Solid, all of them, the game would have done a lot better. But they didn't. Another problem they did was that Star Wars, like I said, they focused on the story and the conversations, but one of the big mistakes they did was let you skip the conversations. They're letting you skip the best part of the game. No, man, don't do that. Some people, it sucks, yes, some people don't want to watch cinematics, but that's what they want you to focus on, is the cinematics. That's not really a good mechanic. Nope. Putting most of the content into something that a lot of people don't like and letting them skip it, no, that doesn't work. And Star Wars is an example. So there's that. As I've always said in my videos, I'm not a PvP guy. I didn't PvP much in Star Wars. I'm mostly a PvE guy. I like to raid. I like to do operations. I like to take bosses down and get loot. Now, that was fun for a time. It was very good. But another thing was that the game in general, the game as a whole, was very, very glitchy. My God, this game was glitchy. Now, I'm not usually affected by glitches much in games. Like, maybe if there's like a no clipping glitch, maybe, yeah, that'll suck a little bit. No, there wasn't too much of that, but it was a little bit. But overall, I'm not really affected by glitches much in games. But man, Star Wars, come on BioWare, seriously, I was affected by your glitches. I was a Sentinel, I was melee DPS. I hotkey all my abilities, so my finger is moving a mile a minute when I'm doing attacks on a boss or something. I gotta attack like lightning. And there was an ability lag issue where I press a button, a hotkey to do an ability, and the attack wouldn't register, but the cooldown and the animation would. So I see the cooldown, I see the animation, I think I've done it, and then I go to press something and nothing happens. And now I haven't done the attack that happened when the cooldown happened. So pretty much I take twice as long to do one attack, which is no bueno. That was a big thing for me. That wasn't what stopped me from playing it, but it sucked. That was a big hinder on my my DPS output. So there's that. What else? Just the lack of content. Like I said, they focus on the story so much. They want you to make alts, which means they don't want you to focus too much on the end game as much as focusing on alts, which actually makes sense because there's not much end game. So there's that. Yeah. World of Warcraft is a much open experience. There's so much to it. I mean, yeah, World of Warcraft is old, so it has much more content to it, and Star Wars is new. So those are some reasons why I left. And I mean, I loved Star Wars. Star Wars is one of my favorite MMOs because of how good I was at it. I was top DPS in my raid group for a while. So we invited this commando fucker. And then another thing, this is just a general, I'm kind of going into just general observations I've had of World of Warcraft. It's interesting to note that since the level cap in World of Warcraft is so high, they've streamlined getting to the level cap. MMOs is supposed to be hard. They're supposed to take forever to do the littlest things in those games. You have to do so much to do so little. World of Warcraft doesn't really do that anymore, at least at early levels. I started last week. I'm already at level 42. If this was the vanilla days, if this was the vanilla era of WoW, I'd be at level 5 as of today, if I started last week. 42 instead of 5. Yeah, they've given you so much to do in the game. so they make it so fast that you can get to 60 or 70 really quickly, whereas in vanilla it took like forever to get to level 20. The mounts you can get to level 20, you learn your abilities instantly and for free when you level up. They've changed so much, and I hope it's for the better. It seems to be for the better. You know, there's still I don't really know how many people are playing, but last time I heard it was like 9 million, 10 million. But yeah, I mean it's got a great story, so that helps. The thing about World of Warcraft and Star Wars is that the Warcraft series in general, most of it, not all of it, but most of it is one arc of story. Star Wars franchise in general is many different bumps and arcs of stories. There's many different sections of the story. It's not just one overall story. Warcraft is like that. So is Diablo, and maybe StarCraft. But Star Wars, The Old Republic, focuses on the Old Republic storyline, which is Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and then a couple of the books they released, and Star Wars The Old Republic finally. So there's that. And I think that's all I can think of. I mean, there's just so much content to World of Warcraft. Obviously, it's the most popular MMO. Yeah, Star Wars, man. I'm just not done. I'm just done with it. I love Star Wars, but one day I just thought to myself, Star Wars: The Old Republic, really? You got to give it to BioWare though. With Star Wars, they took a risk. They took a really big risk, bringing something new to the MMO genre. And I mean, that's what all MMOs are trying to do these days: bring something new. Star Wars did it really well. They brought that fourth pillar of story to the MMO genre. You know, with a risk, the results are either amazing or terrible, or sometimes a little in between. In Star Wars' case, it was a little in between, but mostly toward the negative side for most people. But you know, Star Wars, like I said, Star Wars is really great in theory, but not really in execution, given the current state that it's in. So, but you got to give it to BioWare you got to give them credit and admiration for what they did. So that's it. That's all I can think of right now. I can't really remember too much. I had some stuff on the bus that I was thinking of, but that's it. So thank you for watching. You know, if you want to be subscribed to me, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go ahead. My name is Kingopersia, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I just said subscribe. Don't forget to like my Facebook, like this video, and look for my video next Monday. Thank you for watching.